Okay, in this example we're going to go through, it's an important example because it really gets, I'm going to explain exactly how this works. We're going to convert 45 liters to milliliters. I wrote in the conversion here. I'm not asking to memorize any conversions, although milli means thousands and kilo means thousand. And then we're going to convert 45 centimeters to inches, and there's the conversion factor there. So let's start over here. So we're taking 45 liters, and basically we're multiplying it by 1. And all we're going to do is make a conversion. So if this is the conversion, I can have this one of two ways. And I'm going to pause this. I'm going to write this as a fraction in two different ways. Think about how I'm going to do that. Okay, so I set it up here. I'm using this conversion. I'm going to write it as a fraction. I can write it this way. Which is the same thing over the same thing, which is 1. If these two, like, look at it as numbers. Let's say 8 equals 8. Well, then if I divide 8 by 8, I'm going to get 1, right? If I have 10 equals 10. If I divide 10 by 10, I'm going to get 1. So it's the same idea up here. These two are equal. Forget the numbers. It's what it represents. The units are crucial. So that's 1, and then I can also do it this way. So these are my two choices to use for the number 1 here. Now the question is, which one am I going to use? And I'm going to use the one where I get the liters to cancel. All right? I want liters canceling. So you might want to put pause. I'm going to put the correct one in here. And if you got it right, that's the conversion I'm going to use. Because the liters will cancel, and I'm left with milliliters, which is what I want. And then you just multiply the numerators. Obviously, this is the numerator, 45. This is 45 over 1. You can think about it that way, but I multiply the numerators, and I multiply the denominators. I divide if I need to, and I get 25,000 milliliters. Okay, so let's do this one here. I'm converting 45 centimeters, and my output will be inches, a certain amount of inches. Now I'm going to multiply again by 1. This is dimensional analysis. I have two possible targets, right? I have 1 inch divided by 1 inch over 2.5 centimeters, or 2.5 centimeters over 1 inch, and I'll put those in here. So there's my two choices. Writing the conversion as a fraction. Now both of this number is equal, this quantity is equal to this quantity. So this is really a 1. Now it's a matter of, do I use this one here or this one here? You might want to hit pause and think about it. This is the crucial idea that you got to understand. So if you thought about it, paused it, I'm going to use this one. Why? Because the centimeters will cancel. That centimeter and that centimeter cancel, just like we did with fractions. And I'm left with 45 times 1 divided by 2.54, right? When you multiply fractions, you multiply the numerator, you multiply the denominator, and then finally, lastly, you divide. So this is just 45 divided by 2.54. and I get 17.12 inches. Whoops. So 45 centimeters converted is 17.12 inches. Now that's a single conversion, right? We'll look at this next. Now this definitely gets more challenging when we combine all the conversions into one single calculation. So you don't have to do one conversion and then do another one. You can do them all in a row, which is what we're going to do in 5.8 here. The key idea, however, if you want to go from like millimeters to meters, is that you want to cancel the millimeters. And to go from millimeters to meters, you want to cancel the millimeters in the denominator of the conversion factor. So that's why this conversion factor is the way it's set up, so that the millimeters will cancel. So here we want to convert 3,700 millimeters to feet. Here's our conversion factors. 1 meter is 100 millimeters, 1,000 millimeters. 1 meter is 1.09 yards, and 3 feet is 1 yard. So we're going from 3,700 millimeters to feet. So first, we can't go direct. The only conversion we have with millimeters is meters. So we start out with the 3,700 millimeters, and the millimeters cancel. So after this first cancellation, we have 3,700 millimeters over 1,000. And now we have meters. And now we have put in 1.09 yards over 1 meter. The meters cancel. And we multiply the top units and we multiply the bottom units. But what we have now is yards. And finally we put 3 feet over 1 yard and the yards cancel. And so then we multiply all the numerators, multiply all the denominators, and then divide. So 3,700 millimeters is 12.1 feet. Sometimes a lot of students like to put a 1 under here to start with, just to remind them that that is the numerator and the denominator is 1. And multiplication of fractions, you multiply the numerators, you multiply the denominators, and lastly you divide.